CBS Radio brings you The Couple Next Door, written by Peg Lynch and starring Peg Lynch and Ethel and Bunce.
Well, I guess I better go upstairs and see if Betsy's asleep. I tell her to turn off her light, and I discovered she's been taking a flashlight under the covers and reading a book.
Oh, no, really?
Yes,
Maybe she's going to be the intellectual type.
Well, I don't want her ruining her eyes. Who is that?
Huh? Who's what?
Car just drove in.
Oh? Turn the outside light on then on your way past. Did you ask anybody over tonight?
No. Well, I don't recognize the car. I wonder who it is, man getting out. Must be a friend of yours.
Oh, no, I'm not expecting anybody over.
Goodness, he's having quite a time getting out of the car. I hope it's not that awful Sammy Keel who visits a dozen bars and then staggers over here and stays for hours.
Oh, for Pete's sake, I hope not.
Turn off the lights, pretend we're not home.
No, darling, it's too late now.
Well, and just don't answer the door. Well, I'm going upstairs.
No, it isn't Sammy. It's some guy on crutches. Golly, I hope he doesn't slip on the steps, whoever it is.
I told you we should have put ashes on them.
Yeah, I know. I meant to do that when I came home, but I guess you made it.
Good evening, Mr. Piper.
That's right.
My name is Cullen, Robert Cullen. I'm from the Hellborn Veterans Rehabilitation Institution, and I'd like to come in and talk to you for a few minutes.
Oh, well, what about? I mean, I'm not buying anything.
Well, I'm not going to try to sell you anything.
Oh, well, sorry. You come in, yes, come in. Pretty cold night to stand in the doorway talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I understand.
Thank you. Yes, well, come in, won't you? Come in. Sit down in here.
Thank you, Miss Piper. I won't keep you but a few minutes.
Now you go to sleep, Betsy. I don't want any more reading under the covers. It's late and you go to sleep, dear.
Come in, dear. Come in, sit down. This is my wife. This is Mr. Collins of the Veterans Rehabilitation Institute.
How do you do? Oh, don't get up, please. Please don't get up.
No, we're taught at the institution that we should try to do everything we used to do. How do you do, Mrs. Piper?
Oh, Dad, dear, how do you do? Goodness, I feel terrible making you get up and down like that.
No, not at all. Please don't feel that way. It's good for me, as a matter of fact. The more exercise I give these muscles, the sooner I'll be able to throw away my crutches. I'm hoping in another 6 months I'll be able to get around just with my braces.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, dear, I don't mean it's wonderful you still have to have braces. I meant that I'm afraid I'm saying all the wrong things. I shouldn't even talk about it.
Oh, on the contrary, Miss Piper. I was just telling Mr. Piper here that...
Yes, honey, look, don't feel self-conscious about it. In fact, that's why Mr. Collins is here. He tells me he's supposed to talk about it, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It's part of our training, Mrs. Piper. We've been taught to be able to talk about anything and everything. By accepting certain facts, we regain our self-confidence.
Oh, yes, of course.
Now, as I told Mr. Piper, when we're dismissed from the rehabilitation institution, we're supposed to spend a year traveling around, talking to as many people as possible and introducing ourselves to perfect strangers, such as yourselves, so that we do get our self-confidence back and thereby regain our ability to earn a living again.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I can.
Now, when I rang your doorbell tonight, well, I guess Mr. Piper thought I was going to try to tell him something.
Well,
Well, we do get a lot of door-to-door salesmen, and you never know, which ones are...
Of course. Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about it if you had the time to listen.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Now, you look frozen. It's such a cold night. I'm just going out and put on some coffee. So don't say anything interesting until I get back in. Oh, please don't get up, Mr. Please don't.
No. It's quite all right.
Oh, dear. Will you have more coffee, Mr. Collins?
Oh, well, no, thank you. I probably should be running along. I've taken up an hour of your evening already. Well, you've been very kind to listen to me.
No, not at all.
That's very
Pete's sake, you veterans for the war to protect us. Seems to me the least we can do is give you a cup of coffee and spend some time visiting with you.
Well, you've both been very kind. In fact, everybody has. I've often said I've probably met more interesting and well-known people because of this than if I'd gone through the war without a scratch. Why, I've dropped in on presidents of big corporations, on important political men, famous movie stars, and they've all been, well, really wonderful. People I probably never met otherwise, I told my wife, and I said to her...
Oh, you're married.
Well, indeed I am.
Oh.
With 4 children.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I just happen to have the picture. It's right here in my wallet. Oh, now, wait a minute. I've got some better pictures of them in a book I carry with me in my briefcase. Now, where did I put that?
Oh, here, I'll get it. Right out here in the hall.
Don't get up. You'll get it.
No, thank you. I'm not supposed to let people wait on me, though.
Oh, he doesn't mind.
Yes, Mrs. Pfeiffer. I'm married. I married my nurse.
Oh, you did? She was a nurse at the Rehabilitation Institute?
No. When I was in a hospital in Washington.
Oh.
When I was shipped back from Guadalcanal. I wound up in the Veterans Hospital, and, I was there 9 years.
9 years?
9 years.
Now, here's your briefcase.
Oh, thank you.
Colin.
Yes. 9 years and 27 operations.
Oh, my... 27 operations on your leg?
No, not entirely. My chest and this arm and my face. Well, thank the Lord for plastic surgery, because I didn't have much of a face left.
Oh, my heavens, but nothing shows. I mean, you haven't any scars at all.
That's right. And most of the work was done on the inside, I guess. Anyhow, I feel I'm a pretty lucky guy.
Well, I must say you're a guy with a lot of courage. I don't know if I could be quite as cheerful if all that had happened to me.
Well, Miss Piper, if you want to go on living, you have to make up your mind to it. You have to want to.
Yes, of course you do. Oh, is this your family?
Yeah.
Well,
That's Rosemary, my wife.
Lovely.
And Billy, he's the oldest.
Hey, he's a good-looking boy.
Yeah.
What is he, about 10?
Yes, he'll be 10 in March, yes. And that's Eloise, she's 8.
Uh-huh.
And Debbie, 5.
Oh, darling.
And that's our baby, Bobby. He's just a year.
Oh, our son is Bobby, too. He's a year and a half.
Wow.
Well, they're all darling children. I guess you haven't seen much of them being in and out of hospitals all the time.
Yes, that's true. But I expect to be home for good in a few months.
You got a job waiting for you, Mr. Collins?
Well, in a way. Yes, there's 6 of us from the Institute. We're pooling our resources, you might say. At the Institute, we had occupational therapy, of course, and we learned how to reupholster furniture. So we 6 guys are going to start a little business doing that.
Well, I certainly wish you luck on it.
Thank you, Mr. Piper.
Is this a picture of your mother and father?
Oh, yes, that's Mom and Dad in
Uh-huh.
front of the house in Birchville. That's a little town in Indiana where I grew up.
Oh, your mother's lovely. And, well, I think you look like your father, though.
Oh, well, I used to look more like him before my face was... anyhow. It's been wonderful talking to you, and I want to thank you for your hospitality.
Well, it's been mighty interesting talking to you, and I certainly wish...
Oh, you might be interested in that letter, Mr. Piper, opposite the picture, my friend.
Oh, in the book, yes.
Mr. Piper, if you have the letter from Gordon Wolfstone Caldwell, president of Caldwell Copper.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
well.
Yes, as you can see from the letter, he contributed $100 to the Veterans Institute. So on the next page, there's an order I got from Richard Kimberly Bowles of the Bowles Steel Company. And
Mr. Collins, I thought you weren't selling anything.
Mr. Piper, I never try to sell anybody anything. It's purely voluntary. These gentlemen all made voluntary contributions to the Veterans Institute by subscribing to magazines which are sent to the veterans. It's a tax-free deduction, Mr. Piper, just as you give to your local charities, which I'm sure you do. But we are not asking for charity. This is a voluntary thing. And I would be offended if you thought I'd taken advantage of your hospitality to try any such double dealing. I said I was not trying to sell you anything, and I certainly am not. And if I've offended you, well, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. My goodness, I'm sure my husband didn't.
Oh, no. Of
Like
course not.
that,
I just for a minute there.
Now, here, let's finish up the coffee. Do have another cup, Mr. Collins?
Well...
Please. Oh, please.
All right.
Yes.
As long as Mr. Piper understands that I'm not trying to sell him anything.
Oh, sure he does.
I'd like to show some letters from other interesting people I've met.
Yes, I'll read it. Close the door, dear. It's cold. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing, I guess.
I didn't realize he was leaving so soon.
So soon? He's been here over 2 hours, or nearly 2 hours.
I mean, I went upstairs to change the baby when he cried, and when I came down, my Man was on his way out, hardly said goodbye. Oh, poor fellow. Isn't it terrible the way we forget the veterans after the war is over?
Yeah, it sure is.
Well, I guess I better wash up the coffee cup. Yeah. What's the matter, dear?
I don't like the way that car tore out of the driveway.
What do you mean?
I mean, I couldn't have gotten the license number if I had thought to look.
What are you talking about? Dear? What is it? What do you mean?
Just wondering if we've been taken in.
Oh, honey. Why, the man was obviously... you could see the braces on his legs.
Yeah, I know. But was it the result of Guadalcanal?
Well, even so, dear, I feel sorry for anybody who is...
Look, he could have put braces on two perfectly good legs. Now, let's face it, he was not going to sell us anything, yet the fact remains that guy walked out of here with a check from me for $43.
40?
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
For magazine subscription? Are you out of your mind? Is that what you gave him?
Look, you're the one who pointed out in front of him that the magazines go to veterans, not to us.
40?
So it was the same as a charitable contribution. Then you walk off upstairs, leaving me to...
40?
I don't know. Maybe the guy is all right. I just don't know.
Well, you remember? You remember when I asked him about his face and not having any scars? With skin grafting, don't you have some scars?
No, I don't know. All I do know is that I got an uneasy feeling about this whole thing. I don't even know who to call to check up on him.
Better Business Bureau?
Well, sure, but they're not open tonight. Of course, if he is a crook, I hate to admit that I was taken in.
Oh, honey, really, he was so charming and a wife and 4 lovely children. I'm sure he couldn't be dishonest, dear. Really?
Yeah, well, just the same, tomorrow I'm going to find out.
Every 10 years, the President of the United States calls a White House conference on children and youth. The next is in March in Washington. Great things have come of these conferences. New child labor laws, minimum health and welfare standards for women and children, better methods for training young people as better citizens, and many more. If you have ideas for this conference to consider, send them on a postcard to White House Conference on Children and Youth, Box 485, Washington, D.C. The Couple Next Door stars Peg Lynch and Alan.